Yes, everybody, good morning. We are live. This is, let me take a few moments just to let my all the loved ones of folks know that we're on live. Joining me today is um Pastor Corey Brooks for Project Hood, New Beginnings Church in Chicago, who in the Woodlawn section of Chicago prayed overnight, but not only prayed, but they were praying with their feet. And
Yeah.
basically, on the grind. We had a rough week in New York City, rough week in Indiana. We had a rough week as well in Chicago, all over major cities, urban America, and we have been challenging. Last week we were on with the national um, conference of pastors trying to figure out where do we go from here. But Pastor Corey Brooks, welcome to the God Squad TV. This is the first actually. I've been running every morning for gun violence victims and also survivors, especially the young children who've been shot and killed. In Atlanta, 8-year-old was killed this weekend. Young children being shot. That is something that we have to make sure that we work on. So tell us about what you did over the weekend, and what you have. Some of the things that you saw this weekend, what you think we can do together to work this through. It's not a police alone solution, so we know that for sure. I think it's a comprehensive approach that we need for the gun violence that we see in our community. So you can talk to me about, like, what were your thoughts going into this weekend? You were doing some feeding, open door church, walking with your teams, and thank God nobody got shot in your area this weekend.
Right. Well, first, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. And, I really appreciate the work you all do in New York. And, I follow you as well. And y'all are doing some great stuff. So to be sharing on today with you is a blessing. So I thank you for that. We went into this weekend knowing that historically in Chicago, that this is the most deadliest weekend historically. So we got our violence prevention team together, our violence impact team. And we said, listen, let's go out and talk to the guys on the block, the influencers, and the guys that we know or have heard that are shooters, and talk to them and just lay it out on the line. This is what we need this weekend. This is we're going to talk to all sides, and if y'all could just not shoot this weekend, we would, it'll be a blessing to the community. So we talked to them, we challenged them, we listened to them, a lot of their complaints, a lot of their concerns, and thankfully, while the rest of Chicago has been going up, we have not had any shootings in Woodlawn. Now, some people may not know how impactful that is, so let me give them the context. In the Chicago Sun-Times, which is one of our local papers here in Chicago, in 2012, they wrote that our area, and specifically the block that we're on, was the most dangerous block in Chicago. That's what the article was called, the most dangerous block in Chicago. And it's listed as ours. If you Google Chicago, the most dangerous block, Sun-Times, that it'll come up, that article. And so we took it personal about that. And so we made a determination to try to make sure that this weekend was not deadly and to make an impact. And as a consequence, we did not have not one single person shot in Woodlawn, which is remarkable.
And that is remarkable. I was seeing this. I'm just trying to get other people to join us now. But I've seen it. That is powerful. And I think that sometimes when we so in New York, right, there is a political wave storm, as I said to you today. I tweeted over the weekend about the fact that we had 41 people shot. Well, it's a little bit more now over the weekend in New York City. And immediately, I don't know what you call a tweet when it goes viral.
Yours went viral.
Yeah, but definitely people on all sides, Republican, Democrats, people who are pro-police, people who are Black Lives Matter, everyone, retweeted it for their own purposes. But my message was that we have to have a comprehensive view of violence. It's not just about the police alone. It's not blaming the mayor. I mean,
Right.
if you look at the mayor in New York City, what more do you want him to give you? Blood? He did 35 million for queer violences, continue to work in universal pre-K. People think that gun violence is just an overnight phenomenon. You have to look at homelessness, you have to look at housing, you have to look at education, you have to look at joblessness. And so it is not about defending or not defending anyone. But if someone is trying their utmost best with what they have, you also have to recognize that all of us could do more. But we can't say that, Chicago Mayor Lightfoot, she's not doing what she's supposed to do. Yes, you want her to do more, but if she's helping, you have to say at least she's coming with something, but she can do more, right? So all of us in our cities, as faith leaders, we are saying that you have to do multiple things. It's not just about one thing. It's a lot of different pieces that we have to put together. So I'm not going to fight over anyone who is going to try to tie us into the fact of whether it's Black Lives Matter movement, defund the police. People trying to say, well, what is your position? What are you committed to? I'm committed to love. I'm committed to the fact that we want young Black boys and girls to grow up and live. And we should not be here as pastors mourning the death of young children being killed across America over the weekend from gun violence. That for us is the sad part, right?
Absolutely. And, and whether it's in Atlanta or Brooklyn or Philadelphia or Chicago, these issues are something that we got to really concern ourselves about. And I like what you said about, the police, the mayor. We can't leave it all up to them to solve our situation. And that's one of the reasons why I like the work that you all do in Brooklyn, because it's the same thing that we're trying to do in Chicago, and that's take responsibility ourselves and not wait on anybody to come in and save us, because the truth of the matter is, brother, they are not coming. I tell people all the time, Superman is not coming in this neighborhood to save us. We have to do the work ourselves, and we got to get our people to understand the great need and take the responsibility, go out, deal with these issues, collaborate with organizations that are like-minded, and somehow find the strength and the wisdom to come together to solve the issue. That's what has to happen.
And what were you doing? I saw that you were feeding, just like what we were doing too as well, kind of watching your model. You were feeding thousands and thousands of people even before this time came in, because the message that we were trying to send earlier had to be prefaced earlier, because you touching families. So every family would say, listen, we have a group of people who appreciate our community. So if they're going to be speaking, we're going to be listening to them, right? And so you were feeding like thousands of people from your church.
Right. So what we did, we fed like 5,000 families the first time out. And then the second time out, we fed 6,100 families. And we've all together, we did both those events. We passed out over £1 million worth of food. We partnered with farmers markets, grocery stores, food distribution centers, and really just tried to lay the groundwork to plant some seeds of love, and to also get contacts so that we could follow up with them for times like this. So, passing out all the food was a blessing. But it also blessed us because we were able to get the information and then use that information to send out text messages talking about, hey, peace this weekend, anything we can do for you. If you see anything, call us, that type of thing. And it really helped a whole lot. And so we do it because there's a great need, but we also do it because it's one of the ways that we can better serve our community as well.
And that's so important. When we started off with COVID-19, what we did in our council is that we activated all of the pantries that we had, well, at least 10. Well, there was more, but 10 who had the capacity to do so. so that you have goodwill. And every week we consistently do hot meals program. One person who came with us said to me, well, what's the sense of giving out meals or being in this particular community? And the response is that the more that you engage with communities, the more that when you talk, they will listen. They will know that you're not just here for the cameras. You're not just a Johnny come lately, but you're really working to push forward the agenda of peace. They will at least give you an ear, even if they don't listen, but at least they give you an ear. So that's good work. Every week, we're doing 2,500 hot meals to our communities so that people can have something to eat. How many tons of food that we are doing through our 11 food pantries. And still, we receive some shootings this weekend in the 6-7. This work is not easy. No, and whether or not that police department pointing fingers at the the district attorneys, you have all of this pointing fingers. Where's the cure violence group? Where's the violence interrupters? This is not going to help us. What we need to come together to do is say, listen, the people who shoot up our communities, even though they're part of our community, they have to really realize the havoc that they're causing in our community.
Yeah. That's the truth of the matter. I don't know if some of these young people realize the damage that they are doing to the community, to families, to the fabric of everything that we're trying to do as a people, how they're tearing it apart. And it's so sad, man, just to see so many young brothers. I went to a group in Woodlawn in our area. I'm not going to say where it was on live, but when I went to talk to them, man, these are kids that I've been knowing for years. And to see all of those kids with guns, man, I mean, I was like, it was just unbelievable. I mean, every single one of them had a gun. And we had a long talk. They talked, because I wanted to know, why is it that y'all feel like y'all all have to have a gun?
Yeah. Tell me some of the things that they said to you.
Well, the favorite saying is, it's better to get caught with it than without it. That's the number one saying. And I understand that, because if you feeling like people who are threatening your life are carrying guns and weapons, you don't want to get caught out here without it. And I think a lot of fear and a lot of intimidation by other groups makes it where people carry guns. There was a statistic that I read, Pastor, that said in Chicago, 1 out of every 4 Black boys between the ages of 17 and 25 are carrying an illegal gun.
17 and 24.
Yeah.
1 out of every 4.
Yeah, and we have some of the toughest gun laws. I know New York has some tough gun laws.
Oh yeah, New York has
some of the toughest gun laws in America, and it's still a bad situation. These young guys are carrying guns, and these are high impact weapons.
Yeah,
and destroying people's lives. And so, man, it's a tough work. It's a hard work. You definitely have to be called to do it.
It's definitely tough for sure. If you're listening to us, right, just like this and share it as well. The more that we like, the more that we share. Pastor Corey Brooks and myself, members of the clergy who is doing this type of work, we know how difficult it is to raise money when it comes to Black and brown violence. Is different than other shootings and crime. I'm sad to tell you. We believe that all our Black lives matter, whether it's being killed by a police officer or being killed by the hands of just their own colleagues and friends. Bloods and Crips and different crews and cliques crossing over line and putting together to go after another group. I think that none of us own any streets, and we have to get to that point to let our young people know that we don't own streets. Right. And I don't know about you, but all of the OGs, I don't see any old OGs who's still out there on the street banging with guns who are alive today. Either they're out in jail or they're out completely or they're dead. And I'm like frustrated and tired of not responding to the violence, but doing funerals and having to comfort brothers and fathers and family. For us, is a tiring act. They don't understand that, like you said, those brothers don't understand the carnage that they're leaving behind and what they're doing to a community. So all of the stuff about police reform is practically, leveled off because of the violence that we see in our communities.
Absolutely. And a lot of the messaging that our community is trying to get across, we're losing it because of what we're doing to each other. We're losing it because of the damage that we're causing and the pain that we're bringing, and it's taking away the focus from some of the real things that need to be done. Like some of the policy changes that need to be made, and some of the prison reform things that need to be done. All of this killing of one another is a big distraction from all of that, and I'm really praying for our communities, all across America in urban areas where we live. Man, we're having tremendous problems. And I wish, and I know all pastors aren't called to it. And I had to get that understanding myself, because I kept trying to figure out, why aren't more pastors doing this, getting this done? But I realize everybody doesn't feel a calling to it. But what I will say is this: we got to get more pastors and churches involved in this work, because it's a crisis. It's one thing when it's not a crisis. Okay, you get involved or don't get involved. But when it's a crisis, it calls for every church and every pastor to get involved in the community, because if we don't, we're going to lose generations, and that's just the way it's going to be. So my prayer is that more pastors will get on board, more churches will get involved, and that we get out here on these blocks and get to know these kids. And I tell pastors like this too: even if you don't feel called to do the gun violence, okay, you do feel called to evangelize. So get out there and get to know some of these guys who are doing the shooting, get to know them, because I personally, I just believe you don't grow up saying, I want to be a shooter. I want to be
right there.
Doc,
I was thinking the same thing. If you don't grow up to be a racist, if every child who was born is not a racist,
right?
I want to tell you that you cannot criminalize the fact that all black boys, all black girls, that they were born to be criminals. And so we can't criminalize the fact that if our communities are being shut up by those individuals, there could be a reversal as well.
Yeah, and we got to get involved. We got to get involved, because none of them grow up wanting to be a shooter, a killer, a murderer. That's a lifestyle. That's a learned behavior, and if it can be learned, it can be unlearned. But it's going to take brothers and sisters and pastors and churches to get out and get involved in the lives of these people, so that we can help them, these young people, because, man, so many of them feel lost. They feel like they don't have direction. They don't have any alternatives. They don't have any options. They don't even know where else to turn. And if they can't turn to the church, and if they can't turn to believers, I mean, it's everything is going to be lost.
Yeah. So the tweet, like I said before, all right, everybody, if you join us, some of you want to join the conversation, we'll pull you in the conversation, DM, direct message me for sure. Like this feed. We have decided as pastors that we're going to really put forward our own platform. One of the things that I was thinking is that we have to we need to really take the president on. The president called out Chicago and New York yesterday. All right. In that tweet that I sent out, that is just all over the place, right? Republicans, Democrats, everyone's retweeting my tweet. If you're not following me on Twitter, look at it for yourself. Go to Pastor Monrose, at Pastor Monrose on Twitter, and see how many people are responding to the tweet that we sent out about the fact that, of course, our team was out there on Friday night, and bullets was flying. It's just the fact that you have to be on the ground, you have to be engaged. But one of the things that I'm thinking, Pastor Brooks, is that we have to stop being afraid of trying to be in a meeting with President Trump. He's the president of the United States. all politics aside, if he's calling out Chicago and New York, then my thing is that he said that you call on him and he's coming to help. Now, I don't want you to bring in any more. I don't want you to bring in the National Guard. We don't need to bring in any more police. We have a good police force in terms of who's operating. Chicago put, 1,200 police officers on the ground this weekend?
Right.
What we need, Mr. President, is that we need a comprehensive plan from you, and we will tell you what it is. To give to 1 year ago, we were talking about having the Congress give $700 million to urban America to deal with the gun violence epidemic that we have. $700 million. I think now it should be $1 billion. That is what we need from the President of the United States. And I think that moving forward, what we need to do is that pastors specifically from Chicago and New York should definitely send the president a letter to let him know that, yes, we take your call seriously, and here is some of the things that we need. What's your thoughts on that? Like,
I think it's spot on. People, as pastors, we have to speak truth to power, and we have to be willing to go to whoever's in the White House, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat, whether it's President Obama or President Trump. It doesn't matter. We have to go to the White House, and because at the end of the day, they serve for us, and we need to keep them accountable to the needs of the community and the needs of, and not just the president, but our mayor, our governor. They all need to be accountable to what is needed in the community in order for us to get rid of the gun violence. And who better knows than the individuals like you and myself and other pastors who are grassroots and hands-on and boots on the ground, working with individuals to get rid of the violence. So we definitely need to get as many pastors as we can on board and help them to understand that we're not trying to make a political move. We're trying to make a community move to help our communities. And we don't care who's in the White House. We're going to approach whoever is there. If Trump gets voted out and there's a new president, we're going to approach them as well. So our goal is to make life better for people. And whatever we have to do that, we got to collaborate and work together and make it happen.
Definitely do have to do that. Some of the stats coming out: 8-year-old was killed in Atlanta. One of our strong supporters, Natasha Christopher, who lost her son to gun violence at 15 years old, who is memorializing again her son this coming Friday in Brooklyn, talks about that they're destroying family lives more than they ever could imagine. I think that when we talk about gun violence too, one of the things that we look at as pastors is that it's not really about just the victim, the person that's dead. It's the people that's alive, because the person that is dead, sorry to say that they're dead, but look at what is happening when young men take up a gun, shoot up in Chicago, shoot up in Atlanta. I saw in Atlanta, Indiana having the same issues, shooting up in Brooklyn, in New York City, in the Bronx. I don't think that they got the message that if we're fighting to reform the way that we have relationship with the police department, all of the work that we're doing is going through the window, because individuals are not speaking to, they're not holding true to their creed. So I don't know how a ceasefire would work, but I definitely want to try. And I think that what you said is true, is that whoever's in the White House, now is the time for pastors, primarily pastors who pastor in urban America, whether you're black, white, or brown, to really meet with the President of the United States and say to him, here is our plan. We can't control the politics and the narrative of everything that's going to happen. But I think that now is the time that we have to say that our prophetic voices must be heard, not only in our cities, but also we have been out of the conversation in the White House. I don't know, but I think that now is the time that we need to go back into that space.
Right. Yeah, now is the perfect opportunity. And now is the time. No better time than right now than to make our voice known and heard. We do need to come up with what we believe would help across the country in these urban centers. and we need to present it, and we need to give it to them, and we need to say, hey, especially if you want votes or if you want support, these are the things that we're looking for in our community. And it's a shame that as a people, we don't hold political figures accountable enough to make them stand on what needs to be done. But I believe if enough of us come together, we can force some hands to make sure that they give us the resources and help us to create the capacity to build programs so that we can help these individuals off the street. Because the truth of the matter is, if we don't have programs and if we don't have alternatives and options, they're going to keep shooting, they're going to keep killing, and it's going to keep getting worse. We have to get some programs, we have to get some options that are meaningful to them, not just some stuff that we want to create to make us feel good,
Right.
but it has to be some programs that are meaningful to them. And the only way that can happen is that we do need the support of the government.
Right. And again, I want you to definitely, like this, share this live feed. As pastors, we are saying that we're taking the forefront in our role when it comes to gun violence in our communities. This space is wide enough for all of us to be in there, for sure. Because again, some of the things that we have been holding down for a lot of years, some of your thoughts too as well, is like at the most difficult time in America when people have gone through the pandemic of COVID-19. We went through the idea, we went through the time of COVID-19. We went through the protests, then we went through the shootings, we went through, and now it seems like we have the after effect of all of the things that we were talking about. We're in total confusion right now. Moving forward for us, what are some of the things that we can do moving forward, even in this time? Like, what are your thoughts? What are you going to be doing this week? How could others join you as well? Like, individually, pastors want to join the conversation right now, just the both of us on here. But I think that there's a call to community. And the churches are closed right this minute at the worst time. When I say close, I don't mean the fact that we're not operating, because we have never shut down in terms of operation. You have never shut down.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that collectively, people who feel broken, who feel uncertain, there is fear, there is not a collaborative energy besides Zoom that normally in our community, since slavery, civil rights era, the church was always used as the hub to organize and then to disperse. But that is not happening right now.
Yeah, you know how you said you follow my model, son. I follow your model too, and I think one of the great things that you all do that we got to replicate here in Chicago is getting more pastors on board. You know, getting them more involved and providing them training, because I think your organization does a good job in making sure pastors understand what they can do. Because I think a lot of times pastors want to do something, they just don't. That's just an uncomfortable space, and they don't. You know, they know about preaching, they know about church, they know about administration, but they don't know how to get out in these streets, and it's it's uncomfortable. So we have to get more churches together, more pastors together, provide more training, and because it's too much for one church, it's too much for one pastor. It's enough work for all of us, and I think we have to. I know I need to do a better job here in Chicago and getting more pastors involved and getting them on board and providing training. So that's going to be my emphasis this week. Not just hitting. I'm going to continue to hit the streets. You know, I go block to block. If you come to Woodlawn, we can go anywhere you want to in Woodlawn in Chicago, and I'm gonna know all the guys on the block, whether it's the GDs, the BDs, the Stones, whoever. I'm gonna know them all, and I know all the key major players. And I think you have to try to build those type of relationships, and showing pastors how to do that can be very meaningful. So that's what I'm gonna focus on: just providing training, getting collaboration with more pastors, and continue to hit the streets to get the message out to these guys that, hey, we need y'all to stop shooting each other.
We definitely need them to stop shooting each other. So I know you got to run. We all running.
I pulled over just to talk to you, Bishop.
We thank you for that, man. Listen, we appreciate that you hold on Chicago.
Yes,
It's a lot of work, and we can't blame our stuff is not coming on and trying to blame our mayors of our cities or the governors of our
that's
cities,
right, man.
our state. We have to say, listen, we all have to do some work, and really and truly, thank you so much for joining us today, man. Really
Thank you. I
appreciate it.
appreciate it. Thank you
Yeah,
for your
thanks.
work, man. Thank y'all. And Brooklyn, y'all keep praying for us.
We will. Thank you,
All
man.
right. Okay.
All right, bless you. Yeah,
Bless
take
you
care.
too.
So yeah, thank you again. Oh, sorry. Thank you. So yeah, that was definitely the great Pastor Corey Brooks. We're gonna definitely wrap up our time together with you. But we had just wanted to come on this morning and wow, let's see what Natasha is saying. I got to go over the screen, right? More than they're destroying families and communities and leaving families heartbroken. What about the families that they leave heartbroken and these families are left to pick up the pieces? Do you listen? Families and that is true. Families are definitely broken, and I think that the guys on the street, the young men, young women on the street who is using guns, pulling out guns, they have to stop and think about like beyond themselves. I don't care. Like everyone is in community. Everyone is in community, and they're in community too as well. And they must come to a place to understand that the damage that is being done, that is eroding relationships between community, between police and district attorneys, between district attorneys and police, between protesters and people who were doing work, elected officials fighting among themselves, pointing fingers to individuals. There are so many, there's a lot of work to be done. And the way that we'll get this work done right this minute is that everyone has to say, listen, I need to be part of this particular solution, right? It's not just one thing, it's a lot of different things that has to happen. So we are hurting because yes, our communities that we have been fighting for reform, saying less police in terms of heavy-handed policing, more strategic policing, more community policing. But one of the things that we need to also say to those who is doing the shooting in our communities is that you're not making it any better for us to get the necessary resources or reform that is needed as quick as possible. At the end of the day, those of you who are doing the shooting, those of us who are the victims of the shootings, and the people who live within these communities are the ones who are going to be hampered the most by these shootings. The shootings is not going to hamper the people who live. If you go up to, I want to give everybody a challenge. Right now, if you're on this platform and you're listening to me, go up to @pastormonrose. Let me see if I could put it. I know there's different platforms that we're working on, but go on my Twitter account today, and I want you to see the conversation that is brewing right now. Let me just put it in @pastormonrose, and you will see exactly like the issue. Follow 1 second. I'm typing while I'm talking to you. Follow me on Twitter and check out that Twitter feed, and you're going to see that that the conversation is so deep, is so divided in America. I mean, if you just go on and you will see exactly how divided we have become. That just a situation around policing and around the shootings. There's people shooting at one another in terms of who fault it is. We have to be able to be in a better space in America. And I feel that we're not in that space. I don't think that we're talking at each other. We're not talking to each other. When you have, again, law enforcement against groups that are supposed to assist them in the violence is going up. Everyone is saying, well, everyone is blaming someone. So this week, one of the things that we're going to do, we're moving our cry nationally. And so we're asking clergy and pastors, when we put together a letter to the President of the United States, he called out Chicago, he called out New York, and we are going to take him up on the offer. We're going to write the President of the United States a letter stating a simple plan of, again, making sure that resources reach into our communities, that people who who are coming returning citizens who are coming out of prison can figure out a way that they can get a job in the summer. I'm speaking specifically to New York and Chicago, since those are the examples that was raised this weekend with the tweets and with the conversation. That we need to continue to hire young people for the summer. Those fundings, I think, has been replaced in New York City. I'm not too sure, but I think that it's replaced. We have to continue to fund young people. Like guns on the streets of New York City and Chicago, Indiana, urban America, it's a problem. And I think that it's unbearable now. So what do? We are going to continue to do what we're doing in the God Squad. Those of you who want to join the conversation, you need to get in touch with us, right? Right now is a time of action. And so get in touch with us. Those of you who have connections, people who can fund operations, do so. We're running. And if you want to join me, we're running for the victims, we're running for the 8-year-olds and the 3-year-olds, the 11-year-olds who are being killed by violence. I mean, 3-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 11-year-olds, for God's sake, should never be in the crosshairs of shootings. It is unnatural. It is unnormal. Whether or not that you're a Republican or Democrat, whether you're in a blue state or whether you are in a red state, it is not normal to say that an 11-year-old was killed over the weekend, or a 3-year-old or an 8-year-old. And people think that America now is separated into different pieces, right? People who support one side and then some of them on the other side. No, if you're talking about you live in America, then one of the things that you have to realize is that the American response must be one. And I want you to go to my Twitter feed and just see the amount of confusion that we have in our country when it comes to understanding urban violence. People are calling out violence when we have mass shootings in schools. I don't hear the venom of the world is crumbling down, as opposed to when we have shootings, in our urban communities. Yes, 41 people being shot, 9 people being dead. We can't stand, and we should not stand for these things. But what I think, though, is that now is not the time to cross talk and to blame this one and that one. Well, I mean, I understand how, unfortunately, the way that our democracy works is that people are in two parties, and the person who's in office right now is the one that's going to be blamed for everything, and the person who's coming into the office think that they have all of the answers, and then when they get into office, the person who is vying for that particular job or that particular position is going to say that person really and truly don't have all the answers. And so it's a cycle over and over again. And so when people, if you go to the feed again, I'm challenging you to go up to pastormonrose and look at the conversation and join the conversation. See where you put in. Just blaming the mayor of New York City or the mayor of Chicago, that is not going to help. Both mayors has given a deck of cards, and they're playing with the hand that they are served. Could they have done more? all of us could do more in all of our areas. That's why we're on here saying, what more could we do? But we're not going to shut down our responses. We're not going to shut down our work because we figure that money's being moved around. Listen, I don't want any confusion when it comes to $1 billion from the NYPD. I think that we have enough resources. The federal government can put in $1 billion $1 billion. Additionally, in Chicago, in Indiana, in urban America, the federal government can give $1 billion extra, or they can give $2 billion. Look at some of the money that we're spending for military might and power. A budget is a moral document, and no money can be too much when it comes to the lives of saving Black young men. And that's the issue that we have. And we have to figure out, how do we support it some more and stop the cross-talking, the backbiting, the mayhem, causing havoc not only in the streets, but in Parliament or in the City Hall in New York City. We need to do more when it comes to having a focal vision, front vision in dealing with the violence that we have in our communities. So it's a lot of work to be done. You have to join. You have to join the fight. So this week we're going to be announcing two things. We're going to be announcing that we want clergy specifically to take the lead. We want those of you who could run and to run for victims of the violence. We're trying to have self-care, and at the same time, those who are victims, those who have lost children to gun violence, we want to run to recognize that. But also, too, we want to, again, say to clergy and community leaders and violence interrupters, crisis management systems, to keep on doing what you're doing. You can't stop. There is no there's no magic portion for this thing. It is all work. You know what I'm saying? It is all work, and we have to do it. Gun violence has become the new norm in our communities. Us killing us has become the new norm. This is unacceptable to me, especially as a mother who have to bury her son. And listen, I apologize that you had to bury your son, Natasha, at 15 years old, who was shot at 14 years old. I mean, that is sad, collectively, of people who live in our communities. And what I think is that these young men and women, whoever is doing the shootings, don't understand the chaos that they're causing and the confusion that they're causing our communities. We are going to be spending the next couple of days trying to figure out, with this whole wave of violence, as opposed to dealing with structural change, dealing with community and police relations, getting the police and the community to buy into each other's strategies and supporting one another. All of those things is tough, and it's very difficult. What we're going to do, we can't just stay here and complain and figure out that police is a problem, the protesters are a problem, the mayor is a problem. Listen, I'm over and beyond that. We're going to write to the President of the United States, and those of you who want to join us. The President have said to us that if you call for help, he's willing to help. That's what he said. I don't know where the tweet is, but I definitely can definitely pull it up. Well, I will try to pull it up. But definitely, people want to know where the guns are coming from. On my Twitter page, where the guns are coming from. Guns are coming from Virginia and Florida and those places that have that you can buy a handgun. The gun laws in America is not consistent throughout America. It's different to where you go. I in our clergy group and the pastors that we deal with, we don't deal with policy of gun laws altogether, right? What we do deal with is the idea that the guns that we are referring to and the guns that are going off, all of those guns are illegal. We're not talking about legal guns here. So where the guns are coming from is very simple. The guns are coming from places where they sell legal guns. In order to get a gun, you have to buy it first, legally speaking, and then you have to truck it up, bust it up, drive it up to New York City, to Chicago, and to Indiana, to Oakland, to Miami. No, not Miami. There's illegal guns. Miami probably is a open state, but definitely for New York, for sure that I know. I don't know about those other areas, so let me not state that. But definitely, in terms of guns, illegal guns in New York City, that it is coming from out of state, and it's being sold on our streets. It's being sold on our streets. So gun manufacturers too have a responsibility. Facebook, Twitter, what we on all the social platforms need to be able to give more money to urban America to deal with this violence that we're seeing. It's the idea about giving people jobs and opportunities. There's so many things. It's not just about, police officers coming with guns drawn. That's one part of it, making sure that we have good policing, precision policing to go specifically to people that we know are causing the harm in our communities. But for the most part, the work is going to be done on the ground to be able to help individuals make sure that their lifestyle is consistent to what the parents taught them. Ain't nobody, got up in the third grade and the fourth grade and said, I want to be a shooter when I grew up. Most people decide that they want to be something great. I remember people would say that I want to be a policeman, I want to be a fireman. People wanted to be doctors and lawyers. No one wanted to become shooters in our communities. So we want you to support definitely what we're doing here. Definitely follow us at pastormonrose, Instagram, Twitter, and check out the conversation, like I said, that is happening right now about the shooting that's happening in New York City and across the country. The conversation that is being had. Lend your voice. All right. So before you leave, I want you to like the video. If you can, just hit the like button for me so that this can continue to spread. We're gonna be on every time that we're out jogging. Just came from jogging. We're jogging for the victims. We're gonna tie into this a fundraising piece to help all of those families who even these young people who survive, to give them support so that they don't retaliate. So much work to be done, so much things to do, and so we do it by God's grace. So those of you who've been praying, you keep on praying, you keep on believing. That's the only thing that we can do. All right. So before I leave, could you like this live feed a little bit more? Just bang, 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 bang. Smash that like button, like they said. Do it. Hit it, like it, so that Facebook can take it and they could spread the word. So again, we're going to leave you with two things that we're going to be doing. Letter to the president. You have asked for Chicago and New York to step out. And number two, those of you who want to connect with us and to be on the ground in your local cities or in New York City, reach out to us. All right. We'll be more than happy to do so. So be good, everybody. And God blessings to all. Take good care of yourself, and we'll see you again, if not tomorrow, on Wednesday. God bless. Thank you again for joining us.